So I've been thinking a lot about what best builds our confidence when it comes to drawing with ink, because a lot of students are having a hard time getting past, the intimidation of drawing with a permanent medium, and I believe they're missing out on just how much fun and freedom it gives us, and just how much it can add to our overall creative experience. I thought about the things that both builds our confidence and breaks our confidence. And I think I figured out the one thing that can help you the most to draw confidently with a pen. Now, everyone knows I'm passionate about pen and ink drawing. I mean, I've I've written two books, right? But don't get me wrong, pencil, drawing with pencil, is arguably the best tool for developing your mastery of the fundamentals of drawing. But ink offers a unique opportunity to boost your confidence in drawing as a whole, whether you're actually an ink artist or not. Now, for most students, the main challenge of drawing with ink is its permanence. If something goes wrong, you can't undo, you can't erase. Every mark stays with you. So if you didn't get something right, you have to keep going. The thing though is that its permanence is actually a double-edged sword. So on one hand, it prevents you from going back, right? But on the other hand, it also pushes you forward. You have no choice but to keep drawing. And this makes it a liberating experience because it frees you from being consumed or, like fixated on errors. So you just can't do anything about it. And this helps immensely with one of the biggest challenges in drawing for students overall. And that's overcoming their fear of failure, that freezing up, that not wanting to draw because you're afraid it won't look like. Drawing with ink helps you to learn how to face that fear because you have to accept it and you have to move past it. Now, bear in mind though that when it comes to ink drawing, there are a few things that are helpful to have as a foundation, right? Like at least have some command on the drawing fundamentals, right? And have a basic understanding of how a line works as your primary visual element. In ink drawing, your main basic visual tool is line. So this means you're interpreting and conveying the visual world through a line. So value, texture, shape, the effects of light, even space, everything, it accounts for all the visual elements. So being aware of this makes you much more confident in using it. And this is one of the fundamental things that's so important when it comes to learning to draw with ink is that you're using line to account for everything. And you have to train yourself to start visualizing the world in this way. You're seeing outline or silhouette or shapes, two-dimensional shapes in terms of line. You're seeing texture in terms of line. You're seeing value in terms of line. You're seeing structure in terms of line and depth. Everything that you see visually, you have to kind of transcribe it into the language of line. So this is what I believe best builds your confidence in drawing with ink. And it's risk taking. But of course, in the context of drawing, what risk are we talking about? Well, considering that in ink drawing, what students generally fear most is not just making mistakes, but not being able to correct them. So the risk taking comes down to learn to face a few uncomfortable realities about the medium. Like one, accepting that it's permanent, all right? So whatever you put down, it stays, and you have to just keep going. The urge to undo or go back or withdraw or start over, to be fixated on what went wrong, those urges will be there, but you have to just keep going. And also, we have to accept that we won't always have full control. And this is a tough one because Our hands have a way of just doing what they want sometimes, despite our best intent or our best attempts, right? But it's important to allow and even invite this as a kind of, like a give and take, like a go with the flow type thing, even when we're not totally sure where it's going. And finally, the third reality we have to accept about ink drawing is that we have to accept that the drawing may not look or turn out like the subject we're drawing, right? It may take on a life all its own. And I know this is, it can be unsettling to look at your drawing and think like, what the heck is this? But that's exactly the point, because you don't expect it to look exactly like the subject, and eventually what happens is, we're not so bothered by the so-called mistakes as much anymore. You don't see them as that, basically. And this change in the way we see them changes how we feel, and it relieves that pressure of always wanting things to look right. All right, so it allows us to just have some fun and not take things too seriously. Now, the best way, I think, to practice taking risk is to take small risk and to do it with sketches. Sketching is a nice, fun, loose way to draw without being too fixated on mistakes or getting too attached or taking it too seriously. So don't jump just yet to trying some serious finished drawings where the expectations are high. Just start small with simple like sketches, where if they turn out right or wrong, or right or not, or if it looks like what you're drawing, it doesn't matter. And there's another subtle aspect of drawing and art in general that drawing with ink, I think, really helps you to appreciate a little bit more than pencil would. And it's an appreciation for the abstract, if you will, right? Because, remember, when we're drawing with line, there are levels of meaning here. So a line, for example, can represent a circle, right? A line can be used to draw a circle. Now, this is a shape, but at the same time, this shape can also represent a sun. And this is the second level. And then on the third level, where, psychologically speaking, a sun can be, a symbolism for happiness, right? So you have the line, then you have the shape, then you have the sun, then you have the psychological significance of it, which may be happiness or energy or a source of life or something like that. So, by using a medium that forces you or, to use line, right? You then have to sometimes go to appreciate the inherent aesthetic and expressive qualities of a line. So while you can appreciate what the line depicts, you can also just appreciate the way the line looks. You know what I mean? So it's just what the qualities of the line itself, not just what is being used to depict. And that's one of the things that ink drawing has taught me over the years. And I try to transfer that also to students as well, so they can understand that, drawing with line it's a language thing, so and with ink you overcome the fear of like seeing a bad line. If you really like look closely at these, when you look up close, you can't even make out what's being depicted. But when you step away from it, you can see how it comes together. And that kind of looseness with going between unrecognizable and recognizable can be a lot of fun. And when you engage with your drawings in that way, I feel like you can appreciate a kind of looseness and kind of an explorative or experimentative quality about drawing that sometimes we don't focus on, because sometimes we can get too fixated on just being, capturing realism and get too tight and too close. You know what I mean? So anyway, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Remember to like this video and subscribe for more content like this as I work really hard to crank out this third book I'm working on. I thought I'd be able to finish it by the end of December, but it's taking more time. But, that's just how the creative process is. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.